Hello, YouTube Christian family, and even those who may not be consider themselves Christian, but who follow my channel. I want to talk to you about my brother's dream and about a dream that I had about the church. And my dream was so bizarre. It was something else. But when it came to my brother's dream, I told you that my brother had dreamt that Joe Biden would win. And I'm going to see if I can find the picture of the text that he sent us that said, where he predicted, or not necessarily he did, right? But Christ, who gave him that vision that Joe Biden would win the election. He saw it on TV. It was like real life. He was watching CNN and he saw Joe Biden and they said Joe Biden won the election. That's what he saw. Okay. And that's what happened. And he also had another dream that I had mentioned in another video, where he was in the restroom and he was really trying his best to make that restroom spotless. And in his head, it was because he was trying to get rid of disease. You know, he didn't want any bacteria to be there. And at his house, you know, him and his wife, they love to clean. They're very clean people. Okay. And so in that dream, he was cleaning his best, and then he decided to wash his hands in the faucet. And while he was washing his hands, he had his gloves on, and there were dirty gloves, and he was washing his hands, and he took off those gloves to find another pair of gloves under those gloves. And then again, he began to wash his hands, and then finally took off those gloves, and he thought it was bizarre. Why do I have all these gloves on? So then he saw three. He took off another pair of gloves, so there was 3 pair of gloves in total until he reached his bare hands, which were clean and spotless. And so to him, he believes that dream means that in 3 months, after all this COVID, you know, is present, that finally they'll release a vaccine. And for him, he thinks it's probably a good thing. Okay, for me personally, I think that this vaccine could be the mark of the beast. And what I was trying to tell him was that maybe that dream means that in 3 months, Jesus Christ will make his bride spotless. Because remember, Jesus Christ is going to come back. He wants to come back to a bride that is spotless, without blemish. So he's perfecting his bride right now, and in 3 months will be spotless. Okay, we'll finally be to that, ready for Christ's return. So that will be in January, because that'll be 3 months after he had his dream, which was in November. And then this Thanksgiving, my brother just randomly told me, and see, my brother's, he's a very humble individual. He doesn't like to take the stage. He doesn't like to make videos, but he's fine with me making videos talking about his dreams. His name is Lewis. He had a dream that in 6 months, or he kind of explained a little bit about what was going on, but there was this man in his dream that told him in 6 months, war. 6 months, there's going to be a war. Okay, so 6 months from Thanksgiving, on the 6th month, he believes that there's going to be a war. And it's crazy because I just saw after he told me that dream on Thanksgiving, I watched Rapture Dreams on YouTube, and I heard a woman say that in 6 months, something's going to happen. And I heard another man say that a war is happening. And so the idea of war happening has occurred in many dreams, right? And my brother, he doesn't watch Rapture Dreams. He doesn't, he's not fully engaged in this idea of there being a rapture. So I'm like, whoa, even my brother, somebody who he likes his life, or to an extent, he has, beautiful children. And so he has a wife, he's doing great, but he has back problems. He has his share of problems, of course, like everybody does, but he's not really rapture conscious. He's okay with the idea of it happening. He doesn't think it'll happen, but he says probably it might happen. And the thing is, he had a dream a while back of him wearing a blue robe or something with the Bible in hand. And he believes that in that dream, God was telling him to preach, to speak his word to people. And so he hasn't gotten to that point to where he's doing, I don't know my brother, his personal job life or his life, other than at home. I don't know what he's doing, because like I said, he's a very humble individual. So maybe he's doing that. Okay. But I think he's told me before that he likes to talk to people about it. You know, so, and the cool thing is I've seen a huge change in him. We've had our dialogues about different things. But let's get to my dream now. Okay, so I had a very bizarre dream. Some of you may interpret it some other way. I'm just giving you the idea that God gave me. I feel like maybe God gave me this idea after I had the dream. So I had this dream where I was being held captive in like a white tent or white, it was like a building or something. And I was like in maybe like a church where there was like, those individuals who wear their ties, their suits, and they look wealthy and they're well dressed. And I was trying to escape this place. And so I started off, fighting some individuals, and they were church individuals, trying to get out of there. And I went outside of the tent, and I saw a machine gun, or I saw something that I don't remember if it was a machine gun or what it was, or just a regular pistol. And I grabbed it and I started, just trying to shoot and get my run away, get out of there. And it seemed like there was different levels to this. So I had the right weapon, where there was a certain amount of individuals there, and I had the right weapon to be able to get rid of those individuals. So I just kept on running. And then I saw this tank, and I went inside the tank, and I feel like, I don't know if it was me, because it looked like I was looking at another person in third person, but at the same time, I feel like I was that person. Like if you were playing a video game, right? Something like that. I feel like I was that person, but I was seeing myself in, I don't know if it's called third person, but like when you play a video game, you see your avatar, right? Well, anyways, I got into the tank, and I started shooting with the tank, and there was more for me, there were bad guys, and I was shooting those individuals, and they were dressed like if they were church individuals. And so I was panicking, I was running, I got out of the tank, and I was like, I had this weapon, this gun, and I saw these other church individuals, and they were there praying, and like, they were scared, but they were praying. And so I was gonna, I didn't know, I couldn't tell the difference between them and the bad individuals. So I was just there about to shoot them, because I don't know why. I was just scared because I felt like I was held captive, and there was just all these people. But when I was gonna shoot at them, water was being sprayed on them. Water was being sprayed on those individuals who weren't trying to fight me or constrain me, but who were there just praying and praising God and just, doing their thing. And so water was being sprayed on them. And I was like, whoa, water, where did this water come from? And so then I woke up from that dream, and the way I feel like it should be interpreted is, some of the stuff I say on YouTube is very controversial, especially for those Christians who I would consider to be, and forgive my language, lukewarm. There's individuals who are in the church who aren't, who don't believe exactly the word of God the way the word is actually said in the Bible. For example, we're supposed to love our enemies. We're supposed to pray for our enemies. We're supposed to pray, for example, for Joe Biden. Even Joe Biden, we're supposed to pray for him. Okay? This is the Sabbath day. I defend the Sabbath day. I defend observing it. Am I perfect in observing it? No, not exactly. But I do believe that it's still relevant. It's in the Ten Commandments. We will observe the Sabbath when Christ comes back for those 1,000 years. In Isaiah, it says, from one new moon to the other, from one Sabbath day to the other. So we should know when the Sabbath day is, because God gave the moon and the stars for signs. And Sabado, which means Sabbath in Spanish, which also means Saturday, is the Sabbath day. So I defend the Sabbath day, and this kind of turns people off who are in the church. It might turn you off. I don't know. And when I talk about, praying for Joe Biden, I've turned off people just by talking about praying for Joe Biden, praying for your enemy. Just different things, guys, that I've spoken of that I feel like God has led me to speak on that turns off people in the church. And, I've spoken of the hypocrisy in the church, how, it's all about money. You have your prosperity preaching. I've talked to pastors, when I talk to them outside of the church, their mindset is stuck on money. I asked him, should my parents marry? They said, of course, because that way if one dies, they can have the money, they can maintain the wealth. I'm like, really? That's what popped up in your head when I asked, should they marry? Because, you know, people are weird because they usually need to hear it from a different authority to tell them something that you were trying to tell them to convince them that they should do something, right? So just saying, like, I think we're heading toward a season where you have the wheat and the chaff. You know, God's going to separate his people from the church, from those who are not his people. Okay.